that. And I suppose here I should probably speak about my own personal experience. Because 12 months ago I was offered my dream job, which was to get involved in a startup. It was a really exciting media startup being run by the Fallon brothers, who had set up Journal.ie. And they didn't really know anything about media, but they knew that they wanted to set up a news website, and they wanted somebody to step in and take it over and put their own shape on it. And I thought, that is absolutely ideal. Like, I've always wanted to sort of start my own business and run my own business, but I don't have any money. The bank wouldn't give me any money, so here's somebody else's money they're willing to put it into, and they understand the technology side of things, and I get the opportunity to create a media business from scratch. So, what was not to like about it? There was a small consideration. There were two small considerations, actually, age 2 and 3 at the time. And I thought about it, and I thought, I don't know if I really want a full-time job and everything. And to be fair to my employers, they were absolutely amazing, and they said, we will work around whatever works for you. So you tell us what works for you. And I said, well, I don't think I can do it full-time, and I know an editor's job should be full-time. They said, look, don't worry about that. You can do it part-time. We'll see how things go in a year or so. So we worked out a system which saw me, for the last year, getting up at 5:30 a.m. 5 days a week, so that I could tear across town, be at my desk at 6:30 a.m., put in a 5-hour stint without a break, jump back in the car, tear back across town, pick up my kids from Montessori at 12:30, bring them home, give them their lunch, spend the afternoon with them while I was surreptitiously, on my mobile, answering emails and checking the site and answering tweets and everything. And my very understanding, patient husband would come home at 6 or 7, and I would take myself off with my laptop again upstairs and do a little bit more work on the site. So, on paper it worked, but like most things that work on paper, it didn't work that well in practice. And I suppose when I put it all down on paper, I didn't bank on the constant exhaustion, or the fact that it would all fall apart when one child got sick or when the other child got sick. And kind of for me, the crunch moment when I just went, what are you doing? Came, I think it was in November last year, so not really that long after the site went live, the night that Ireland announced that we would in fact be taking a bailout from the IMF. And this kind of broke on Sunday afternoon on Twitter. I was again going, we need to cover this. And in fact, this was a brilliant opportunity for the Journal.ie to sort of steal a march in RT and get out there and have, live tweet the conference. And somebody else actually went down to the conference, so we were working together. I was sitting there in front of my TV, and I had my laptop out, and I was live tweeting the conference. It was all going fantastically until my 2-year-old, who had pneumonia at the time, ran into the sitting room and vomited all over the floor in front of the television while I was tweeting. But I didn't break my stride. I kept on tweeting, and I got through it. And I told my husband, who came and cleaned it up. I'm not sure that Martha Gellhorn ever had to cope with that kind of edge of the seat glamour when she was a war correspondent. But it was working, and I struggled on. And I thought it was going pretty well until the day earlier this year when I went to pick my 4-year-old up from Montessori, and the Montessori teacher took me aside and said, we had news today. You all know what news is, it's the part where the teachers get to find out what's going on at the live parents. And she said, yeah. So Rose, my 4-year-old, stands up and says, yeah, I have some news. My mummy is very lazy. She loves to sleep and she's always tired, but luckily my daddy's not lazy at all. So I laughed for about 30 minutes, and then I cried for probably the rest of the day. And I sort of thought, there may be ways to combine being the editor of a 24/7 news organisation while having 2 small children, but I'm just not sure that I've discovered them. And I remember reading something when I was thinking about what I should do. I was doing a bit of research, and I read a piece in which Christina Lamb, who's the foreign correspondent of the Sunday Times and a journalist that I admire, in which she wrote about how she had left her very premature newborn baby in intensive care while she went off to interview Pinochet. And I just thought, I don't think that's so great. Fair dues to her and everything, but I'm not sure that that's even what I want to do. So yesterday I resigned my job at the Journal with great sadness, and also a lot of pride in what we've achieved so far. And I'm going to stay involved because my fantastic, ever-flexible boss, Brian, said, no, we still don't want to lose you, we still want to keep you on board, so whatever works for you will work for us. So, we're going to discuss over the next few weeks what role I'll stay involved in, but hopefully it'll be a writing, kind of developing new content ideas role. I hope not to disappear back into kind of a cloud of self-raising flour and play dates, and I'll still be able to contribute. For me, the difficulty is that while we can talk about it all in theory and in principle, for me the glass ceiling didn't come about because I was a woman. The glass ceiling came about when I became a mother, because I wasn't prepared to leave my children in childcare full time. And it was sort of, that was just something that we decided, and as fantastically supportive as my husband is and my employers were, it just still didn't work in practice because I suppose because of the cost of childcare, because of the lack of availability of childcare, and because of all those difficult daily decisions that you've got to make, like do I look after the baby with pneumonia, or should I attend to the fact that the country is about to take their bailout from the IMF, and those are the decisions that make it really hard. So just very quickly on the positive side, I think you hear a lot about how men informally network in the media and in other businesses, and that helps them out. But I have to say, I think we're fantastic informal networkers, and I've been really lucky enough to have had some amazing female bosses at critical junctures in my career. When I started out, I had Amy O'Toole in the Business Post, and Maria Horgan in Liberty Films when I worked in TV production. And I also have peer mentors like Margaret, who's a really close friend of mine, and we would be very supportive and we help each other out. And I think that women, we should build on that. And the other thing that I would finally say is that I think there is an opportunity for women now really to make their voices heard, because as newspaper sales are falling and radio is suffering to a lesser extent, there are conversations like Orla was talking about going on in newsrooms all around the country where they're going, how do we get more women readers? How are we going to get more women listeners? Maybe we should do more fashion or more cookery. So I think now's the time to vote with your feet and vote with your purses, and have your voices heard, and let them know that we don't want to be pigeonholed, and we don't just want to be in the lifestyle pages. We'd actually like to be on the front of the paper as well, occasionally. So.